Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we're welcomed by ERIK Surge. How we doing, man?
Pretty good to you.
I'm doing great. Excited to do this. I've been watching your work, especially in OVW. I've also
Thank you.
seen you at CSW and AAW here in Chicago. So I'm really excited to dive into your whole career, especially what you've done in those promotions and maybe what we can get from you in the future. Uh, with all that said, would you like to shout out your social medias, even upcoming events you got coming up towards the end of February, going into March?
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to follow me on Facebook, you just type in Eric Surge. I keep up with everything I'm posting every single day, whether it's highlights, upcoming matches, clips of a previous match, promos, vignettes, you name it. And then on Instagram, it's the same thing. It's Eric Surge. There was an old account I used to have. It got locked out. Look for the one that has the verified icon on it. That's the easiest one to get to. This weekend, actually, I'm at OVW this Thursday. This is the fallout from our big pay per view we just had this Sunday, Tough Love. Friday, I am at CSW, of course. Saturday, I'm at AAW. And then Sunday, I return back to Indiana to FEW in Greenfield, India.
Okay. Busy weekend. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yes.
Um, Here on the I Love Wrestling podcast, I try to start at the same place because to be a part of this business, whether it's a podcast or commentator, professional wrestler, you have to love it. And you have to, we all have a story of when we came across it or how we found it. So, what is your earliest memory of wrestling and what made you fall in love with it?
Probably watching it with my grandmother when I was
Okay.
a little kid. Um, she was a big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, and I believe like early 2003 is when I started watching professional wrestling with her. Probably one of the first matches I remember watching on TV was on Monday Night Raw. One of the marquee matchups was Shawn Michaels versus Christian.
Hmm.
So I've always been a fan
Okay.
since day one. She's the main reason why I fell in love with it because big that was a big thing. And like then I found out, my parents love professional wrestling, and then that just followed me the rest of my life so far.
So you've mentioned like, grandmother liking Stone Cold. First kind of match that maybe you remember is Michaels and Christian. Who were some of your favorites growing up that maybe would later on go on to inspire you?
Hands down, my one of my high key favorites is Shawn Michaels, of course. Even though he was one of the first people I watched, it was always Shawn Michaels. Um, Kurt Angle, of course, because I'm also a former college amateur wrestler as well. He kind of had a little bit of a influence on me because he was able to, do everything he did in the amateur level and transition to pro and have a hell of a career. So that's something I want to do as well.
Definitely. So with the amateur stuff, is that something you started in high school or did you start it earlier?
Yeah, that was something I started in high school. I was more, I did football in the early days, football. I did some track as well. Amateur wrestling, I didn't start till I got to my freshman year of high school.
Nice.
So it was, a late bloomer, which it happens, but it's okay. I thought it was professional wrestling when because the announcement on the intercom about whoever wants to join wrestling report to this such room and you can sign up. So I thought, me jumping off the top rope or something like that. I was wrong. It was actually for amateur wrestling. So it was a lot different, but I fell in love with it and I had a phenomenal career with it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
So like going into college was your idea always to be a professional wrestler, or did you have something else in mind when you went and sought out your education?
So it was always there.
Okay.
but I didn't know how to get to it. That was the thing. That was like the like you always have a it's, and I won't even say pro wrestling is like my plan B because it's not. But you know, at the time I thought, pro wrestling, you know, I don't I didn't see myself doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I didn't because you thought you would think that it's so hard to even get to be a professional wrestler. So I was like, you know, I have a good thing I'm doing right now, um, and I didn't want to ruin it. Which pro wrestling would never ruin it, but just at the time, I was a college wrestler, and I didn't have no time to even think about pro wrestling until getting closer to my last year, and then like things started falling into place, and I got an opportunity, and then that kind of opened my eyes up to maybe I should try this.
Okay.
So I did that, and it's probably the best decision I ever made.
Absolutely. So just out of curiosity, like there's always that moment or something that happens that makes you guys transition from just fan to trainee. What was that situation like for you, and how did you know that the opportunity was right?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't usually tell people this because I usually keep this. This is something I always keep. But I had a tryout in 2020, 2021,
Okay.
and you know, I was blessed to have that opportunity. It was during SummerSlam weekend in 2021. This is prime. We just got out of COVID, so
Right.
everything's back open. Um, I was thankful that I did not get the job, and the reason being is I got to learn, and that's kind of what helped me realize like this is my calling. You know, if I did real good at a tryout that I had no experience in. Was a I was just a really good college athlete, but I didn't have no knowledge of the business. I do now, and that's a big thing. I'll never take that away. That was kind of like the wake up call. Like, are you gonna are you gonna do this or not? Because it's right there. It's for the
Yeah.
taking. All you have to do is just put the work in.
So coming out of that tryout, what kind of like how am I going to put this? How did you go about finding the right like training school? Once you figure out, hey, I want to do this, I want to pursue this, what steps did you take then to find where you needed to actually pursue? You know what I mean?
Oh, I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I messaged everybody within like a 150-mile
I
radius.
like it.
I mean, I DM'd a lot of schools to get an opportunity because like, I'm an athlete, so I'm basically programmed like I train.
Nice.
You gotta practice, you gotta bust your butt. So I already have the prime mindset of a college athlete, so I know what you have to do to get better. So there was a school in Shelbyville, Indiana. I'll name drop them. It was New Era Wrestling Academy,
Okay.
and I talked to them about you know having an opportunity to try out to be a part of your class. And Damian Cole, shout him out by the way. He is the one who actually led me to the school I started training with. He said he would love to have me there, but he said it's a little bit far. There's a school closer to you, and I think you would fit in. I think you would be really good at that. And I said, yeah, where is it at? He told me it's in Bluffton, Indiana. I said, oh, that's 45 minutes
Hmm.
for where I'm at. That's perfect. Um, and it was Professor Kong's Wrestling Academy.
Okay.
So my trainer is Kongo Kong from Impact Wrestling.
Nice.
Yep. So
So,
it was a perfect decision for me because he's probably one of the great super heavyweights,
yes. Yes.
and I'm a big dude. So learning how to work like a big guy is the greatest thing that I will never ever take for granted because the amount of knowledge that he taught me and showed me like this is what you need to do to be a big guy. You know, and there's times where you wonder why, but then you figure out why he's saying that because like if I do something that somebody that's 5'6", 150 pounds does, and I do that all the time, it's not special.
Exactly.
Make it special at the right time. It means something.
So just got out of curiosity now because for one, Kong's really cool. I like that, and I haven't dove into the big guy question in a while. Which you've already kind of alluded to. There's a lot of bigger athletes nowadays that wrestle that maybe we'll call it 205 style. Um,
Yeah.
are you a fan of a big guy being a big guy, or do you like the mix?
So I will personally tell you, I'm mixed
Okay.
because it's all about evolving, and
Hmm.
it's all about how do you present yourself to be the best product out there. And if you're the same thing, if you're the same thing like 20 other people, what makes you special? Now, if you're this guy, yeah, you look like them, but the difference is though, you can do this at the right time. Plus, you understand stuff that is hard, like psychology, and you can talk, and you have great gear. You can wrestle. You have great shit. You're in great shape. Stuff start adding up, and it starts making opportunities for you a lot better.
Definitely.
So I will say, yeah, I think big guys do need to you because at the end like at the end of the day, it's professional wrestling. It's a business, but the professional wrestling standpoint, biggest thing, professional. That means it's a marketing standpoint. You need to look the best you can. If you want, and that should be everybody's goal. Everybody's goal should be trying to get signed. How do you get signed? Look the best you can be. And if you can't look the best you can be, work towards it.
Definitely. So, like early on in your career, was Kong trying to maybe help you develop those skills to be the perfect big man?
I think so. Kong is very kind. He's very thoughtful. He is if you want it, he wants it for you.
Hmm.
That's always been his philosophy. And I think he saw that I was very hungry, and I think he saw a bright future for me. So, I picked his brain apart a lot because I asked questions like, okay, what can I do? What can I do this? What helps me do this to get to there? Stuff like that. The stuff that every every student wants to be asking their teacher. How do you get from point A to point B? How do you get from being a B student to an A student?
Yeah.
How do I get from having like one good night to having multiple good nights? That's what you want.
For you and Kong, what was the biggest piece of advice that he gave you that maybe you still hold on to?
Stay humble.
I like it.
100% stay humble. I will personally say, for me being so very young in my career still, and the amount of success I have had, um, yeah, it feels good to get recognition. It feels good to feel good, but you still have to remember. You still have to remember your roots. You still have to remember the beginning. You still got to remember, like, remember you 3 years ago. You didn't know so much. You learned a lot, and I will never say I know everything because I don't. I'm still greener than Greg Oos, like 100%. I'm still like in early stages of my career, so I try to learn as much as I can from everybody. But staying humble is my number one priority, and it always will be, and that will never change because I feel the moment you turn that humbleness and it turns into you being a cocky person, you lose a lot of opportunities,
Definitely.
and you don't want that.
So we've spoken a little bit about your collegiate background in wrestling. Did that
Mhm.
help you at all transition into professional wrestling? Because some guys I've heard it makes it really easy, and then some guys I hear it makes it really hard.
Absolutely. I felt I was a heavyweight my final 3 years of wrestling, so I didn't have to worry about like putting on size and stuff like that because some college wrestlers weren't heavyweight and they have to put on size for pro wrestling because you don't want to be a little guy
No.
in pro wrestling. Well, you do and you don't,
Yeah.
but you want to look stocky. So I didn't have that problem. No, it helped me a lot because it helped me be good on my feet. Um, Amateur wrestling, we beat the hell out of each other every single day at practice. So running ropes and taking bumps and stuff, it just prepared us for stuff like that. Really, it really did. Um, you have to remember sometimes because some people I've heard that amateur wrestlers they tend to have it hard to separate the fact that you know it's not about winning anymore.
It's about the performance.
Yes, so and that was the one thing I will say was not hard for me but I think it wasn't hard for me because I was a fan of it for so
Yeah,
long. I think other people it is because they're not used to that. For me, it was fine. It was like, look, at the end of the day, I'm doing what I've been wanting to do for a long time, just never had the opportunity. So just me getting to do what I do is already a win in my books.
definitely. So like we've talked about like your family really enjoying professional wrestling. So when you
Mhm.
actually start training and you actually start having matches, what was the reaction to you getting to live out this dream?
Oh, my brother is like probably one of my number one fans,
Okay,
100%. Um, he follows every little thing I do in the independent circuit right now,
badass.
which is pretty cool. Um, my parents follow when they can and stuff, but they're happy. My mom kind of knew that this would be something I might do one day, so she was right. My dad's happy about it as well, but yeah, my brother follows every little thing I do. Like
Definitely.
I like every little thing. Like on social media, he sees where I'm at, watches highlights, watches them everything. Him and his buddies. I watch watch one of the episodes of OVW one time, and that was pretty cool.
Have they been able to see you do it live yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
My family has not seen me live because they are all in California.
Okay. So I read on Cage Match it says you're from California, but I saw
Mhm.
everything was in the Midwest. So I was like, and you never know with Cage Match. So I was just curious on that one.
No, that's shoot. Shoot, I am actually from California. Um,
Okay.
I am born and raised from California. I graduated high school in California as well.
Hmm.
Um, I moved to Indiana in 2018
Okay.
to get my bachelor's and master's at Indiana Tech.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
Um,
So
so
yeah, that's shoot.
that's
That's not
shoot. That's
that's
real.
not a work. It's yeah, that's a shoot.
I like it when the internet gets its information right instead of just putting stuff out there. And you got to be careful in
Yes.
Cage Match. I've learned that the hard way, doing research for a podcast and it being wrong.
Yep. So
Um,
it's good that's why I feel it's good that sometimes it's not weird. Just ask the person, but hey,
yeah,
like I've had this happen a couple times in my early career where Eric, most people remember Eric is like R ERC ERIC. Mine's not like that. Mine is ERIK. And people forget that. And sometimes I have the message the promoter or whoever does the graphics. I'm like, hey, you spelled my name wrong. I'm like, oh, I thought it was. I said, no, it's this, but it takes you 2 seconds to go on Facebook, type in Eric Surge, and it pops up. It's plain as day. You can't miss it.
to be honest, a little behind the scenes. I've already got the graphics made for this. And the first time I made them, I put ERIC. Just because like I know your name, so I just made it. And then when I messaged you this morning, I saw that that was wrong, so I had to remake all the graphics over again. So just to give you a laugh, yes, I made that mistake as
That's
well.
funny. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. But you'd be surprised how much. And
It
it
can
does get
happen.
annoying. It gets annoying sometimes because like there's times where it's just like Like they didn't know that they didn't know how to spell the name. They got a picture from like long time ago, and you're just like, hey, I have updated promo pics. I can send you one. All you have to do is just shoot a DM,
Yeah,
and I'll respond to you. Not hard.
I love it. I love that the mistake still happens, and
Oh
like
yeah,
it's so easy just to
it
make it
still
not happen.
happens. Yeah,
uh,
it still happens, but you get used to it.
so speaking of struggles, I guess my next question, some people talk about the difficulties of trying to get out. Like once you're trained, obviously, usually the school has its own promotion, and it's kind of easy to get acclimated into that atmosphere. But what was your biggest challenges that you faced when you tried to spread your wings and get out into different indie shows?
Ah, then getting my foot in the door for some places sometimes.
Okay.
Um, I never really had a problem getting booked. I will, I will just say that. Like there'll be like a date here and there that I need fill. I'll post on my socials, be like, hey, like if there's any leads to this, I would love to have an opportunity to wrestle for you, and I'll get it filled within a, probably a week. It'll get
Okay.
filled, but it's just knowing how to communicate. That's like the biggest thing. Um, yeah, I don't think I've had an issue. Sometimes, especially when started early and when I got the green light from Kongo Kong to I could take my own bookings, is getting the opportunity.
Okay.
Like sometimes promoters will see you and they'll be like, "Oh, he has a good look, but maybe he probably sucks in the ring." That happens sometimes. Um, maybe he's not, maybe he's not good or he has bad rep and stuff. Thank God I don't have a bad rep in the wrestling world. I am very respectful for it everywhere I go. Um, I'll give you a prime example. Um, there was a promotion that I've been wanting to get into for a long time, and it was tough because either like they already had a full roster or you know, um, they might have an opening and then all of a sudden someone else got it. So it's happened, and that's the law of the jungle. It's how business is. I understand that, but we finally got booked, and it was like a trial period because I wanted to get booked more with them. And me personally, I took that as okay because I'm available for all their dates, and I want to work all their dates. Um, so I took that as personal shot. I said I'm gonna knock this out of the damn park. And I'm gonna give you a reason why the year that I didn't get booked with you and I crafted everything I did and became a star right now is the person that you want to book right now. And I did do that. And then I performed and I exceeded their expectations. And that's kind of what I feel a lot of people need to have. Some people get discouraged about you don't get booked or they say no and stuff like that. Yeah, it sucks sometimes. I'm I am 100% honest about that. It sometimes sucks because there's places that I want to go, can't get in yet because either there's no availability or they just don't have the space right now, which I get. It sucks, but it's cool. When it does happen, I'm gonna knock it out of the park, and I'm gonna give them the reason why. Damn, I should have. I'm glad I took a chance on him. Or like if you get a no and they say, yeah, I don't think you'll fit here. Then when they book you and then you knock it out of the park, then they say, yeah, you know what? I got to be honest. You surprised me, and I'm glad this worked. Those are the moments that I love because I love having the don't do not judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
You see the product that I give out, and it looks good. Like everything screams professional wrestler. Trust the process. Trust what you're going to get because what you're going to get is good. You're going to get something really good. Trust it.
Definitely. I think like even personally speaking, podcast wise, I've had a lot of those like moments where maybe somebody higher up the pecking order says no, and then maybe you get some, like for instance, I'll start with CSW for instance. That's where kind of like for me getting my footing into independent wrestling and even like Chicago's independent scene, it started there. And
Hmm.
some might argue I started at the top of the card because I had Axel Rico on, and Axel was great, but this was in a downturn for Axel. I think he was fighting for the tag titles. He wasn't in like any of the main title picture scene. And then I slowly chipped away throughout the whole roster, and now I've talked to everybody, including the top men and women of the of the roster, and slowly been
Nice.
able to chip away at other rosters like AAW, like um, I've slowly got into freelance, things like that, and made my way through out and whatever. You know what I mean? So like I can definitely contest it. Sometimes you just gotta take the no, the humble no, and say, okay, what do I gotta do to get to that level?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so, it's not a bad thing. Like hearing you're not there yet is not always the worst answer. Sometimes it's just like, okay, what do I gotta do to get there? And most of the times it's a wake up call. Like I've noticed, like for me, it's been like, okay, maybe there's something I'm not doing right. Let me fix that, and I'll come back. And usually, 9 times out of 10, they'll either say yes or they'll give. If they've noticed some improvement, they'll give you, hey, fix this, this, and this, and then come back and we'll have another discussion.
It's literally all about opportunity. It's yeah, of
Exactly.
course, it's right place, right time. But how about the first time you go at your very best, and that's how it should be. Like anytime you're going to a new promotion, it's a job interview.
Yeah.
It really is if you think about it. How are you going to promote and how are you going to present yourself for your very first time? Me personally, I'll be 100% honest. I am a big believer on look like a star, dress like a star, act like a star, be a star.
I like it.
You should always do that. We're supposed to be larger than life athletes, supposed to be larger than life superstars, right? Why are we
100%.
not? Why are we not bringing that out? Why are we not showcasing that? You arrive to wherever whatever booking you are, show up on time or early, and look good, look presentable. Not mind you, not trying to crap on anybody. I'm just saying my personal preference. My personal preference is I like to look good and I like to be at my shows early. You know, because you never know. Stuff might happen. You might find out something change. Whatever the case is, you're not going to show up to your actual shoot job late. And your shoot job, you dress how you're
Presentable.
supposed to.
Yeah. In the
Yeah,
uniform.
look presentable when you go to a wrestling show. Because what if you're at a show, call times four, doors open at 5 or 6, but there are fans already out there, already waiting, 100%. And it happens a lot. So guess what? You get out the car and you look like a star for a show. That's a big thing. You probably just grabbed a couple extra fans looking different. Fans want to see that. Fans want to see a star. I learned this from, I heard this, but their fans are not going to come see their next door neighbor.
I agree.
Fans want to see a star. So give them a reason for you to be a star. Not just in the ring. It doesn't you being a star does not start and end in the ring. You being a star starts the moment you get out of your car to the venue, the whole time you're at the venue, and when you go home. Point blank and simple. Not hard.
Like it. I like the philosophy because there's been a rare few that I've seen enact that the whole way. And I'm not going to discredit anybody, but somebody I think is an excellent example of it is Bruce Hamilton. Like if you look at Bruce,
Yes.
everywhere Bruce goes, he's well dressed, he's well mannered, very professional, and just to put Bruce over because I love to put Bruce over. Excellent at it, and somebody I think for one, he's a little older, like gentleman, so I think it's just a natural thing for him. I think this is just how he's lived his everyday life. He's also like performed bodybuilding his whole life. So it's something
Yep.
else, much like professional wrestling. It's a um, what's the word? It's a vanity business, to be honest. You got to look the part. And so like when given these scenarios or these examples, that's usually the first person I throw out there. Another person, somebody else that works at or wrestles at OVW is Brandon Beretta. Brandon always shows up looking strictly business.
Of course. And that's the big thing. And I one shout out to Brandon Brad.
I
That's one
love
of my
Beretta.
that's one of my dogs. Yeah, no, that's a big thing because like here's a perfect example. What happens when you get signed?
You're gonna need that same expectation.
So why aren't you already practicing that? Why aren't we already doing that? And I'm saying this towards everybody. Like we should be doing that. Your number one goal is to try to get signed. That should always be your goal because why are we doing this?
Got to make it to the
I
top, man.
like yeah, I like to look good when I am going to shows. I like to look good because I want to I 100% I believe I'm a star and I know I'm a star. So I'm not gonna dress how I dress when I'm not, not when I'm at home. No, I dress how I dress. Nice, look like a star, well mannered, professional, easy.
So we've brought up OVW a couple times, at least I have.
Hmm.
In 2024, you'd ultimately make your way up into OVW. Just for starters, how did that all that come about? How did you get your foot in the door at Ohio Valley Wrestling?
So in 2024, there was a referee named Josh Patterson.
Okay.
He was actually one of the referees at the time. He still is a referee at the time. He's taking some time off for family and personal stuff. And he talked to me about OVW, and I said I would love to have an opportunity to go wrestle there. So he shot me to the right direction. He shot me to who I need to contact and stuff like that. And next thing you know it, um, actually, I'll tell this funny story about that. I got in contact with OVW and everything. We were talking and everything like that. And we were filled out the sheet and everything like that. I got a text and was asked, "Hey, are you available next Thursday?" And I said, "Yeah, I am actually." He said, "Okay, cool. Call time is 4 o'clock next Thursday." And in my head, I'm like, "Hold up, huh?" And he said, "They told me you have your Kentucky license, right?" I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Yeah, okay, yeah. Call time's 4 o'clock. See you there. Make sure you bring your gear." I said, so that was cool, but in my head, I'm like, I don't got my license yet. So I crap you not. I had to had to rush. So this is a week before I actually arrive at OVW. So I have 7 days to get this done. So I crap you not. This is like probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon Thursday. I ran to the hospital to get a physical. Got that done that same day. After it was done, sent all my paperwork Friday to get my license. Got my license by Tuesday, 2 days before OVW. Yeah,
Nice.
I do not play. If I have to get something done, I will make sure it's done before I get there. And then I showed up for the first time. I had a tryout, and Al Snow and the agents and everybody, they really liked what they saw, and we were rolling ever since.
So like if we look at we'll call it your first big opportunity in OVW, probably March of 2025. You had your first shot against Mr. Doug Basham for the OVW National Championship. In this particular bout, you would come up short. Doug would get the W. But
Hmm.
what did you learn from your first experience taking on Doug for the national championship?
Um, I got to be honest. I would say that's the my second big opportunity. I think my first one was
Okay.
the Nightmare Rumble last January.
Okay.
Because I came out I picked number two, and I was in the Rumble for an hour,
Got you. Got you.
and I think that's what kind of started the eyes being looked at me a lot more. So fast forward to March Mayhem. It was an honor. It was 100% honor. I remember watching Doug Basham when it was the Basham brothers versus Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio at No Way Out.
I love that
So
match.
it was a great honor to go and have a match with him, and I learned so much in that match because I learned about the some of the whys in a main event style match. What to do and stuff like that, and that has helped me so much. And I still ask him for critiques now, but he helped me out a lot, and he is one of the main reasons why I'm having like such um, such a good time at OVW and having a good run there because he's the person that put me over. I don't think even though yeah I have a good look and I can wrestle, but it takes two to tango, and he made me look like a superstar, and I have to 100%. I will always thank him for that.
So I'd have to imagine the next month in April when you get your second shot at Doug and the national championship, and this time you come out victorious. I can only imagine that that match and that moment had to have been maybe a little bit more special. What is that
It
match?
was. I'm be 100% honest. I did not think something like that would happen this early in my career.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, stuff like that doesn't happen with somebody that's only 2 years in the business,
No.
and I'm 3 years in right now. So stuff like that doesn't happen. So the fact that OVW trusted me to be the top champion of their company is huge. Um, and yeah, it was a surreal moment. It was if you rewatch the ending of the match and you see I bend my head down with the title. Yeah, I tear up a little bit because it's a big moment. I it was you always remember your first, and I'm very happy that that was my first.
So, like, I think the cool part coming out of that is we later find out that you are the last national champion, and then you will become the first United States champion. When did you find out that you would be making history twice in one reign?
Oh, literally when Al Snow hands me the title. Uh, I was uh, so we were doing a celebration for
Okay.
TV, and I was like, okay, cool. So I did not know that I was getting a brand new championship, and they were retiring the national title. So it was pretty cool that be able to be a part of history, not once but twice, because I'm the last national champ, and then I'm always going to be remembered as the first OVW United States Heavyweight Champ.
What was your favorite defense of the United States title?
Uh, favorite defense, I would have to say against Tony Evans.
Okay.
If I have to pick, hold up 1 second. Yeah, if I have to pick, sorry, trying to charge my phone too. If I have to say, Tony Evans was my favorite defense, hands down.
Is there a reason why
Just
that one stands out?
he was my very first title defense.
Okay, I
Very
like it.
first title defense. He brings the best out of people,
Okay.
and he did bring the best out of me. He still brings the best out of me. Um, we need people like that are all around good wrestler. He's great in the ring. He's phenomenal on the mic. He knows how to draw heat. Trust me, I thought I was a good heel. Man, he blows me out the water because of the promos. Goes by himself.
So working at OVW, obviously we've mentioned the likes of Al Snow, Doug Basham. OVW has a phenomenal crew, both on both sides of the curtain. What are some of the biggest lessons, whether in the ring, out of the ring, in life in general, that you've been able to learn from the crew, Al and Doug at OVW?
Build to the moment. I
Okay.
think a lot of times us workers forget about why we do this, and that's for the fans.
Yeah.
Sometimes we kind of get into the whole let's blow our load all in the first try. Shouldn't do that. Um, if if there's no story involved, I'm not going to throw the kitchen sink, and you shouldn't. It's a story. It's I'm trying to take you off on a roller coaster, and I want you invested the whole time. So how do I get you invested? I can't drop everything I do the very first time. If I do that, and you see I'm scheduled next month, you just saw everything I did. Well, why are you going to come see me next month? Got to give you a reason. Sprinkle a little bit here, sprinkle a little bit more the next time, sprinkle a little more. Oh, now we can throw a hammer right there because you see me 3 times already, and then you just keep going, keep going. You gotta. It's a movie. It's storytelling, and that's the greatest thing why fans love pro wrestling. They want to be entertained and they want to get hooked to a story.
Definitely. So, I mean, just from one, and this might sound a little funny, but like from looking at like if you go and watch the Netflix series Wrestlers, which is all about
Hmm.
OVW, which I think honestly is a little underrated when we look at kind of like a
Yes.
documentary style program for professional wrestling. And I the one two things I really loved about this series is for one, it puts over the love that everybody at OVW has for wrestling, and two, it really hones in on what you just described, that journey from taking people in a story and like you said, building up storylines to where you get a crowd invested. Like the whole time for that like documentary alone, Al and everybody's talking about, hey, we gotta build up to this big show at the end. I believe it was at the end of the summer, and you gotta
Yep.
build up. You gotta sell those tickets. So for you as a young wrestler in this game, trying to get out to let's say fresh promotions, what's it like for you to try to go out and sell yourself, and put yourself in the position to where you say, hey, let's say for instance at OVW, we've done this. I might be able to contribute this to your brand. How do you go about building that up and selling that to other promotions to try to get your name out there further?
The very first thing, and I will say this to anybody, it communication, biggest thing. And you have to be humble. Um, you can ask any promotion I've hit up. I am the same way, very humble, very respectful. Because at the end of the day, I'm not signed, and even if I was signed, I still will show the respect that you deserve.
Yeah.
Um, I go out there, and my goal is to do 2 things: get over and get what you want over. If you tell me that, hey, I want you to do this, 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 guess what? I'm going to do it. You need me to be a heel? Great. I love being a heel. You need me to be a babyface? I will 100% try to be the most over babyface on that show. And it's not a knock on anybody, but that's how you should. That's how you should be. It's how you get over. You market yourself, and that's the other thing too. How do promoters want to continue bringing you back for shows? How do you act during the show? How do you act before the show? How do you act after the show? What are you doing before the show happens? Are you promoting? Are you, you know, are you telling people you're going to be at this show? Show up on time. Do you do what you're supposed to do? Are you respectful? Stuff like that. You'd be surprised how many eyes pick up on stuff like that. And not gonna lie, that has helped me a good handful of times because I'm very respectful. I do what I'm supposed to do. You know, um, I'll go out of my way, cut a promo. I'll go out of my way, make a vignette for an upcoming match. Stuff like that. So little things. The little things come in a long way because at the end of the day, us as independent wrestlers, um, you got to market. You got to market yourself. You got to market yourself really good, and you got to find ways how to market yourself. Whether it's posting a story, or you're posting a highlight of the previous match, a vignette. Hell, you can post pictures of your previous match. That's still something, but that's constant marketing. That's constant like you are busy. And that's what you want to be. You want to be busy. I feel being busy is a good step into the business because you want to be that person where I want to use that person a lot, but he's always booked. It's a business. It's always gonna be a business. That's how you get a name.
Definitely. I I can agree from the the podcast side of things because I mean, even personally speaking, if there's a day where I feel like I haven't done enough, it's a part of being busy, I guess for me is self-fulfilling because it's like, okay, what can I be doing that pushes it that next level? Like if I'm not busy, why am I not making another making more clips, make or get more interviews done or making new graphics? Like what am I doing wrong that made me not busy today? So, and the only person that's going to push your stuff is you at the end of the day. Um, unless there is the rare occasion where you get the right eyes and the right people that want to help, but 9 times out of 10 the person that's going to push you that next step is yourself. So the only way to do that is to keep, like you've said, marketing. And I think sometimes things that just get lost, whether it's in wrestling or podcasting or whatever, is just realizing that not only are you building yourself, but you're building a brand. And the further you can get that brand out, the more successful you will be. And for you, something I've really noticed that's really cool is how well you try to get yourself out there and how much you grind for it. Like for instance, at AAW, I've literally watched you work from the ground up, from the AAW live shows onto the main card shows. And it's been an up and down battle, I've noticed for that. You've gone to live to the pay-per-views, to the live to the pay-per-views. Um, and you've really done your thing there. What would you say are some of your goals specifically within AAW? And even what are some of the matches that you'd like to have with some of the roster there that maybe you haven't had the chance or the opportunity to have yet?
I think to answer that, I think the first time that I got on the main roster was against Isaiah Moore, and I think that was a big eye opener because I've wrestled Isaiah before. He's probably one of my favorite guys to wrestle,
He's incredible.
and it clicks. It's like there's two other people that I just click, and we just like we go here to here, like it just flows really good. He's one of them, and I think AAW saw that and they were like, okay, he can go, and Isaiah is one of the top stars. So I don't ever get upset like, oh, I'm on live. I'm on live. I'm booked.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. I'm booked and I make the most out of it. Nothing changes whether I'm on either side. You're gonna get the same Eric Surge whether he was on a live or he was on the main card.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Um, there's a lot of people that I would like to have an opportunity with. If I had to pick, I would, I'm being honest, I would love to have a match with Trevor Lee.
World champ.
Um, Stallion, I would like to have a match with.
Mm.
Um, it's always fun to go one on one with Isaiah. Um, Russ Jones. Um, who else? Actually, I have never even been a match with, but three guys I actually legit would like to be in the ring with is Tupu,
Okay.
Robert, Ego Anthony,
Gotta love ego.
yep, and Joe Alonzo.
Okay. Joe is interesting. I like Joe.
The reason I would like the Joe for sure is because he is very, very smart on psychology on the heel aspect because he's a great chicken shit heel.
He's a
So I feel,
phenomenal.
yeah. So I feel the stories that I would be able to tell with him would be great. But yeah, there's the whole roster at AEW is great, and I would love to just pick the brains of a lot of them and just get the work done.
Definitely. As we record this, I believe the Chi-Town Rumble is this Saturday, correct? Are you participating in the Rumble itself?
I am going to be there.
Okay.
You'll have to see what I do.
Got you.
No surprises, but yeah, um, you should go.
I'm
You should also
gonna
go to
try.
the day. You should also go to the day before because I have a big Hoss match with Cypher at CSW.
Yes, sir. I do plan actually 100% on being at the CSW show. I kind of consider, like we've talked about a little bit here so far, CSW, like I'd consider it home, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
As far as the indies go, they gave me kind of my first break in podcasting, especially on the independent level. So I try to make every show. The only reason I won't be there is if it snows, which in Chicago it loves to do that at the worst times. Um,
yes.
but I do plan on being there. And this Friday, you take on Cypher, Big Cypher, somebody who eludes the podcast, but I'd love to get him on one day. Do you have, do you feel like this match, the Hoss battle, like you said, is your chance to make that big quote unquote statement to the CSW audience?
I think that happened last month, actually.
Okay.
Um, I think it was there's people there were people that knew me from, of course, OVW, NWA Chicago, and AAW.
Yeah.
But the fans that haven't seen me for got to see what I brought, and I didn't do everything that I can do. I just sprinkled a little bit.
Give him a taste.
Yeah, and guess what? They were by the end of the night were fans, even though I wasn't a good guy, but I didn't say I was a bad guy either. That's the thing. But they became fans. So if they were that invested in a scramble match that had five other people, imagine now you just have me in a match with just someone else, and it's a one-on-one match. The possibilities endless.
I like it. What something I find kind of interesting, and I just thought about this, which it'll kind of lead into my next question. Um, you have a little bit of history with the owner of CSW, Steve Boz. You've defeated
Oh
him.
yes.
You've defeated him in NWA Chicago. Um, is that how you got the connection to start working at CSW, or is it something that happened before then?
So, which it's kind of funny. So the story that I told earlier about when you have an opportunity, you want to knock it out of the park. That story was based on CSW actually. So a year
Okay.
ago, I showed up and I was in a pre-show tag match,
I think I
and
was there, if you want me to be honest.
yeah, it was me and
It was an
forgot
older gentleman,
forgot
right?
yeah,
Yes.
and I took on Connor Hopkins and Hunter Holcraft. Both are great. Um, Killed it and everything, and I wanted opportunity. So it was cool to finally have a match with Steve Boz, and Steve Boz finally got to work me, and that kind of, I won't say it didn't help, but I think Boz was happy to see that I'm there now.
Yes.
It's one of those opportunities like he's wrestled, I've wrestled him, he's wrestled me. He sees that he can go, he understands the business, everything, and he's doing everything, all the right things to succeed. Yeah, we should use them.
I like it. I like that we got to make that full circle. That's cool. Um,
Yes.
so speaking of NWA Chicago, still kind of in its infancy. I think it's only a little over a year old, if I'm not mistaken. Um, something like that. They have another show coming up here in March in the Chicago area. Obviously, I guess NWA Chicago. Um, you've had some showings there. You've even taken on the NWA Chicago Heavyweight Champion. What does that relationship look like for you in NWA Chicago? And is that somewhere we can expect to see more of you? Maybe even in that title scene?
Oh, if you think Eric Surge was just going to be a one and done for that NWA Chicago Championship, you're vastly mistaken because um, I'm all about making opportunities, and what better of opportunity to be the NWA Chicago champion? And there's only been one so far, and I feel that the person that should win it to be the second ever to hold it is a person that right now is hot in the Indies right now. Me. Not saying nobody else in the Indies is hot right now, but I feel the trajectory that I'm at right now with the amount of stuff that I do, yeah, I think I'm a front runner to try to win that title. And if I get an opportunity with Mario, I think we'll have a different outcome this time.
I like it. I like it a lot. I got two more questions for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. One that I always like to try to sprinkle in here just for fun. People always thought the dream match scenario. I always like to throw out like when Cody went to the Indies, he made his list of dream matches. Does Eric Surge have a list of dream matches, or even one that sticks out that um, he'd like to get in the bag?
Um, for the Indies,
Yeah.
I would have to say it was Matt Cardona until he signed back with WWE. I would have to say, if I have to pick somebody right now from it would have to be Matt Riddle.
Mm, I like that.
Um, he's actually so quick little story. Um, 2024, AEW posts that they're having a tryout in December of 2024, and it was a Matt Riddle seminar as well.
Okay.
So I got to roll around with Matt Riddle to just, like basically shoot grapple, which was awesome. And, there was a video of him talking to me and him basically putting me over, and that was awesome. That is one of the coolest things ever.
I love it. I think you said in December, right? I was at the December show. Is that when he won the title?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I met Riddle. That was a fun interaction. It was a great interaction. I wish we could get more out of that, which you never know what could happen in the wrestling world. But we'll just leave that teaser there for the fans to interpret. But last question before I let you go. Um, as far as like if we look at the 3 years that you've been in the business, is there a moment or a match that you are particularly proud of that stands up above the rest?
There's three.
Okay.
There's my first one was um, wrestling my trainer,
Okay.
and it was kind of the stamp on approval that okay, you know what you're doing. Um, of course, two is going to be the match I had with Doug Basham winning the title.
Yeah.
Um, that's a hard little feat to beat because guys like me don't see myself winning it that early. So that was always a big thing. And of course, number three would be wrestling my older brother last December in front of 1,500 people
That's badass.
at the Blizzard Brawl. Me versus Anthony Toto. You should watch that. That is a great technical wrestling match.
Okay. I will definitely go back and check that out. Eric, I just want to say thank you. This has been a pleasure to have you on. I'm definitely looking forward to doing a part two a little further down the line. Um,
Absolutely.
we did it at the beginning. I always like to try to throw it in at the end as well. Would you like to shout out your social medias just one more time, just in case for some
Yeah.
reason they wasn't listening?
Yeah, absolutely. So for social media, of course, Facebook, you type in Eric Surge, boom, it's right there. You go type in Instagram, you type in Eric Surge. It is not the first one, it's the second one. Just look for the blue icon. You'll find it. That's where I'm at. And then, of course, on YouTube, it's the Power Surge. I post all of the matches I do. You could check my matches from back in 2023, 2024, and this past year as well. You could just see the progress of everything.
Definitely. And that's Eric with a K, not with a C. Don't make the
That is Eric
mistake
with a
I
K.
did. um,
Yes, Eric with a K.
Mr. Serge, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to seeing you, hopefully, as long as it don't snow, this Friday at Chicago Style Wrestling. Hopefully, as long as we'll see. I might see a Saturday as well. But to all the fans, make sure to check out OVW. Pay attention to all your local Midwest indies because Eric is at all of them. He shows up everywhere. Um,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, like I said before, and I will leave this at see you next time, sir.